These are the frequently asked questions for pre-calculus for section 2-1, day 1. And I'm going to start with number 14, which was asked for, but I'm really going to have to use all of these in order to figure out which of these is right. And that's because we know that they're not going by ones when we look at this problem. So number 14 has an A value of 3. So that tells me this is going to open upward. So that makes all of these, all of those 3 possibilities. Now the vertex of this one is at -2, -7. And so what that does is it throws out E. E can't be it. But it's quite possible that it's either A or D. So what I want to do is I want to take a peek at the other up opening parabolas and see if any of those go as deep as -7. So when I look at 13, I see that the vertex would be at -1, -3. And no, that doesn't go down as far as number 14 does. So far, it would have to be answer D for number 14. And then I look at 15, and that's going downward. 16 is going downward. 17 has a vertex of +1, -3. Well, that was E over here, because that was the one that was going to have quadrant 4 for its vertex. So that means that this is truly the deepest of the 2 up opening parabolas, and that is answer D. So this one really was about a process of elimination, using what we know about A and the vertex in order to figure out which of those it could possibly be. Number 49 says comparing age and weight. A group of male children were weighed. Their ages and weights are recorded in table 2.4. They want us to draw a scatter plot of this data, and this is again where you're just going to give me an approximate. We've got months down here and pounds up here. An approximate for what you see on your graphing calculator. And I did already go ahead and put these into the graphing calculator. So the next step would be second, stat plots, going into number 1, turning it on by hitting enter when it's at on. And I do see that it's going to use my list 1 and my list 2 down below. But then it would be about the window. You have to think about what numbers, let me move this over so we can see those again, what numbers were our X values and what numbers were our Y values. And our X values went from 18 up to 42, so maybe from 10 to 50 would be a good thing to do so that we can see them. And then our Y values went from 23 to 44, so maybe 20 to 45, something along those lines. And it did not take the 5. There we go. Try again. And graph. And so that's what you would try to approximate on your paper, is what you see there. So we've got kind of a little cluster of 3 down here, and then we go up a ways. And truly it is just, trying to approximate for me what that looks like. And then for part B, it says describe the strength and direction of the correlation between age and weight. So at this point, I would say that appears to be a pretty strong, positive relationship. But you know what? Just to be sure, I would go ahead and do the regression, even though they didn't ask for it, and take a look at my R value. So stats, calculate, number 4, and go down and calculate. Something wasn't working again, so hang on. Stats, calculate, number 4. Oh, it has list 1 and list 3 in here from last time, so let me change that to list 2. There we go. Now down to calculate. Enter. And fortunately my diagnostics are on, and I see that this would be 0.948 with rounding. So R is approximately 0.948. That definitely tells me that this is a strong positive relationship, because that's very close to 1. And because 1 is obviously a positive number, that gives us that positive correlation. We could do that, like I said, without actually using the calculator, and that's because we could see that would be a pretty good line of best fit. There aren't any points on there that wouldn't be reasonably close to that line. 51. Miley bought a computer for her home office and depreciated it over 5 years using the straight line method. So, straight line method is probably where people were getting messed up with this. And that's because the straight line method means you're just depreciating it at the exact rate that it would make zero in that number of years. So if we have $2,350 to start off with, and we want that depreciated over 5 years, what we really do is we just divide it by 5. That's it. So that gives you $470 a year. So the value of this computer is the starting value of $2,350, but then each year we're going to subtract $470 from that. So whether or not you want to write it in slope-intercept form or not, it's going to work out the same. It doesn't make any difference. And it says, what is the value 3 years later? Well, that would mean we want to know V of 3. So negative 470 times 3 plus 2350, and that comes out to be $940. So straight line method literally just means doing the same amount of depreciation every year until the whole value is down to zero. The entire computer, equipment, whatever it is down to a balance of zero in the books. And that's it.